Yeah, anyone can look up Indigo Children. There's a lot of different information out there. Kind of go by your gut. Uh, and I think the hard part is differentiating between indigos. You hear about the star child, you hear about this, star seeds. You hear, I think a lot of it's new age. I don't believe a whole. I don't believe all of it. I just recently started looking up the Indigo Children because of the show we were doing tonight. And we got Nikki in the chat room. She's got an Indigo in her team.
If they're good with intuition, like Haley is, I mean, Haley's got intuition, and she uses it to connect with people. They would be good on a team, wouldn't they?
Mm-hmm. But again, for legality purposes, I would be very careful with having any minor on the team. Again, I will reiterate because I do get beat up for this, but we do. Haley does not go into cases. She is telephonic only, and she only deals with children. So I just got to.
And her grandma's on the team, and she has permission from her mom.
So I just have to throw that disclaimer out here and there.
Yep.
But I do have to commend you, Haley. Like, I remember as an adolescent how hard it was to make contact with any new people. And the fact that you were able to do it with all these children that you were able to help is just amazing.
Well, I find that it's easier to talk with children younger, like 2 years of my age and younger, or 2 years of my age and younger, versus kids my age or older than me. It's easier to conversate with somebody that has more of an open mind instead of having one specific, this is how I'm going to think and that's it. When you speak to children, they think about everything and every possibility that they are able to do. So it's just easier to have conversations with them and things like that.
Did you talk to the kids in the UK on that one case, Haley?
No, I don't think I did.
No.
No, I don't.
I'm thinking. I know. I remember we had one case in the UK that was requesting Haley to talk to their kids.
The only case that I talked to was a little girl in another state, I believe, and she was seeing shadows throughout her house, or seeing one shadow person throughout her house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did really good after Haley talked to her. She felt more confident, more relaxed, knowing that someone else had also been through this, that they understood what she was going through.
Right. And that's the purpose. That's the purpose of peer support. So moving on, I want to get into marks. You have kids that wake up, they have marks on their body. Obviously, kids are accident prone, so they're going to wake up with bruises sometimes. They're going to wake up with scratches or whatnot. You have a family cat. Accidents happen, but there are certain marks that you do pay attention to. Scratches you can't explain, for example. Scoop marks. So scoop marks look like someone took a divot or a very small spoon and took a scoop of skin out of your leg. It's usually in the legs and the arms. These are things you look for. These, and I hate bringing this up, but it does happen. And this is with kids that have been abducted by aliens. Other things you look for are nosebleeds. If your kid wakes up and they have, muddy feet, things like that, and they don't sleepwalk, they haven't been outside.
Their pajamas are on backwards.
Their pajamas are on backwards.
Or your kid just doesn't know how to put on clothes sometimes.
Oh no, I'm talking about the ones.
That's my kids.
Yeah, well, I agree, but these are the ones that you know for a fact your kids went to bed and their pajamas were on right. And this is a hard topic to breach. I mean, I can talk to adults all day long about abduction, but when you're talking about kids, it just brings a whole different perspective to it, a whole different mood to it. Because it's harder when you have
kids. For people to think about.
Well, it is. It is. And with that, you have hybrid children, and that's happening today. Back in the 90s, and I've said this on the show many times, but back in the 90s, when they were abducting women and doing fetus implants, they would bring them back home. The gestation was about 2 months. They'd re-abduct them, take the fetus out, and then they'd be abducted again to visit this infant. Today, they are doing the same, but they're actually brought back down and allowed to have a natural childbirth. And these are alien hybrid children, and it's happening more frequently. And most of the time, the children look human. There's really no deviation as far as appearance. The eyes are a little bit different. They're a little more almond-shaped. And they usually have abilities beyond the norm. Some of them have telepathy. Some of them, their intelligence level is higher. And they will have abilities such as empathy, such as, they're a little more psychic, things of that nature.
More logical.
And didn't you say, Eric, that some hybrid children don't know that they are?
No, they don't. They don't. And we've had a few cases where the parents know they're hybrids, but their children don't know. And we leave that up to the parents to tell her, tell them or don't. I will keep it quiet until you really have to. If there's a question later on in life, then obviously, if you want, bring it up.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but when you were saying something about sleepwalking and waking up with your clothes on backwards, that sparked something in my mind that happened several years ago.
No.
I fell asleep on the floor of my brother's bedroom because we were watching TV on the really old box TV in his room, and I fell asleep with my really thin princess blanket on, and I remember waking up in the morning in my bedroom, laying on my own floor I fell asleep in my school clothes because it was a Friday night, but my shirt was on backwards, and I had one of my nightgowns over it, and I've never slept walk before, and I had dirt on my feet. I've never, ever had that happen before.
Oh, goodness.
We were living up in the middle of the mountains, too.
They were living in Lyman up in the...
We were living up in the hills where there was only like 4 neighbors around us. And there was just trees beyond miles.
And did this happen just one time, or did this happen more than once?
It only happened one time that I remember of, and I was about 4 to 6 years old, so it's vaguely there, but I still remember it happening.
Okay, so with cases like that, and I'll get to your question here in a minute, Nikki. I would suggest, and I'm sure Dredd has already got you doing a dream journal. Watch your dreams, and we'll get that. That's another topic we'll get to here in a little bit. But I would pay attention to that. So getting to Nikki's elaborating on nosebleeds. So when we're looking at a case, I always look at medical before I just jump on abduction or anything else paranormal. With nosebleeds, kids usually aren't going to have high blood pressure, but that's something you look at with adults. If a child's got high blood pressure, obviously you've got medical issues. But also, if it's only a 1 or 2 time thing, I would look at was the air dry when they were sleeping. Things of that nature. I get them tested for anemia or thinning of the blood, things like that before I jump on the abduction side. As far as the length of time, quite often with abductees, they woke up, in the morning and they see blood on the pillow. And the nosebleeds are caused by the implant. They'll have an implant in the nasal cavity, and that's what's actually causing the nosebleed when they put the implant in. Other things, sparkling lights on the ceiling. I've seen this. I've never been abducted. I know that. But I have seen a lot of signs because I knew abductees. But it's almost like it's a reflection of 11 billion sparks of light, and they're all moving on the ceiling. And this show tonight is reminding me of when Mark and I a couple of years ago, we did the first abduction show, and we were going over the 25 signs and symptoms of abduction, and he's like, "Oh my God, I've matched 16 of the signs." I'm like, oh, wonderful. Okay, so you might be an abductee, but missing time. So quite often, a typical scenario, somebody sees a UFO. And next thing they know, this UFO is moving away, and it's 2 hours later. And they've got 2 hours of missing time. So 2 hours is the norm, but abduction can be as quick as 20 minutes because there really is no time. And Izzy's phone is ringing. She changed her ringtone.
Sure, that's what it is. The aliens are making
It was.
contact.
I'm not watching cartoons.
It just kind of sounds like static from over here.
Oh, yeah. But I lost the train of thought. So missing time. And then you've got, so if you're taking a walk, and you find that the street lights are going off as you walk past them.
I do that all the time.
Oh, the street lights going off?
Yes, I can turn them off.
Well, that's caused by another implant.
Really? We need to talk.
Oh. Okay. Let me reiterate. If you only match a couple of the signs, it could be other things. Usually, I think the average is if you have like 10 of them, and there's different. So if you Google alien abduction signs, I believe there's one site that's got like 101 different signs, but a lot of them are very similar in wording. And I go by a certain pattern, which we're talking about right now. But so there's different kinds of implants. With your kids, I want to keep this focused on kids. That's what the show is. Common places to look for implants. Arms, legs, hands, feet. On the head, the back of the ear, the back of the neck. If you have any kind of raised area in the skin, that's usually an implant. Unless, of course, they got shot by a BB from a BB gun. So, what are the implants for? So, One implant we know is a tracker.